do with ZANU-PF at this moment in this house. It has nothing to do with the MDC at this moment in this house, but it has everything to do with the corrosion and erosion of our national dignity as a people. If we allow corruption to be institutionalized, if we allow corruption to become a yardstick of how we govern ourselves, we are defeating generations that are here to come. We are simply squandering national resources on the basis of elements that are corrupt. We have never seen the big fish being victims of their corrupt activities. If anything, our jails are full of the small fish, the carpenter, being arrested by the big fish, who are equally, if not more, corrupt than the carpenter. We want ourselves to appreciate that even in our African tradition, we know that a fish rots from the head. Whenever there is corruption in a country, you realize that it is more endemic and more pronounced within the top echelons of power. We need to make sure that as members of parliament, across the political divide, we stand up for good governance. We stand up for clean government. We stand up for condemning those who raid national coffers, those who raid national resources. It is our duty as members of parliament. We are paid by taxpayers to defend them, not to shepherd them to the slaughterhouse of corrupt sharks in this country. We want, Madam Speaker, to say in terms of corruption, I did not hear what the president is going to say. In fact, the president has not pronounced himself on issues of corruption, particularly in this speech. Yes, in the past he has said something, but yes, it's good to be very bold on paper. But in practice, we seem to be lacking in terms of the action that we are supposed to take. Corruption is just rampant across the political spectrum, the religious spectrum. People have to be dealt with by a government to make sure that there is no corruption in the country. Even in terms of employment, you investigate even in the corridors of government. It's a who is who. Those who are not related to the big guys, who will never have an opportunity to be employed effectively in meritocracy. Even if you look at regions, again there is corruption there. You look at Air Zimbabwe, the government promised that there were going to be 2.2 million jobs. Only one job has been created at the Air Zimbabwe. Which brings me to my second point, job creation. It's clear, Madam Speaker, that jobs have been decimated. Jobs have just disappeared. It's clear that factories are closing, but the president does not mention this. Yet he indicated to the people of Zimbabwe that he was going to create 2.2 million jobs. We would have wanted to hear how far he has gone in creating those jobs. He did not say a thing. So that is what is missing in this speech. So I feel that the president is supposed to give us answers about where the jobs are going. He's supposed to give us answers about his jobs plan to create jobs for the people of Zimbabwe, instead of just coming here to lament about problems. People are not elected into government to come and whine about problems. They are elected into government to come and give answers and solutions. You are aware that even Smith, during his time, he had the sanctions imposed upon him, but he had to look at the sanctions-busting mechanism, which is something.
Honorable Member, I would like to remind you that you have 5 minutes left.
I'm very conscious. In fact, I'm done. I just wanted to mention the issue of corruption and the issue of the jobs that are not being created except that one. So it's very important, Madam Speaker, that the president is seized with the issue of job creation. But not only that, we also want to hear about devolution. In the Constitution, we have devolution clearly articulated, but nothing has been done to devolve authority, to devolve the national wealth. You look at the national question in Zimbabwe. People in Matabeleland are complaining. People in Masingo are complaining. People in Manicaland are complaining. Some in Mashonaland are complaining. Some in Midlands are complaining. Why? Because there is no equitability in the distribution of the national cake. There is no equitability in the distribution of national wealth. That issue has to be resolved. We had a constitution The Constitution brought about the issue of devolving power. The provincial councils have not been set up, has not been established, which is a fundamental problem. The president does not say a thing about it. He has not obeyed the Constitution, and is supposed to obey that Constitution. The issue of devolution is very important. We want to see the provincial councils in place. We want to see the accountability of government in implementing the Constitution. Nothing has been done about this. Madam Speaker, I feel that the president said a lot, but he also forgot to say so much. And some of the things I have highlighted are very important. Last but not least, is also the worry I have about our abuse of the president. You know that in our tradition, we are not allowed kuti ugare pasi pemuti mukuru akabata gejo azibvumizwi mvura inayi vamugabe mukuru wedu takufana kuti tivapewo mukana.